My wife said our daughter was missing. But her secret destroyed our family. I never imagined that the happiest years of my life were built on lies. If someone had told me that the woman I trusted with my heart would one day destroy our family, I would have laughed in their face. But they would have been right. My name is Stephen Carter, and this is the story of how one phone call changed everything I believed about love, marriage, and family. Before you judge me, hear my story. My wife, Sarah, and I had been married for 11 years. We lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood outside Dallas, Texas, where everyone knew each other. It was one of those places where children rode their bikes after school, neighbors waved from their front porches, and nothing bad ever seemed to happen. At least that's what I believed. We had one beautiful daughter, Lily, who was 8 years old. She was the brightest part of my life. Every time I came home from work, she would sprint across the front yard and jump into my arms. "Daddy's home!" Those words made every exhausting business trip worth it. Unfortunately, my job wasn't easy. I worked as a regional construction manager for a commercial development company. My projects were spread across Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. Sometimes I spent 2 or even 3 weeks away from home. I hated being gone. But I kept telling myself I was sacrificing today so Lily could have a better tomorrow. Sarah always smiled whenever I packed my suitcase. "Don't worry about us," she'd say while kissing my cheek. "We'll be fine." I believed every word. I trusted her completely. That trust would become the biggest mistake of my life. There was one person I never paid much attention to. Our next-door neighbor. Zane Walker. He was in his mid-30s, divorced, charming, and always seemed to have plenty of free time. Whenever I returned home from a trip, I'd often see him mowing his lawn or washing his truck. He always smiled. "Good to have you back, Stephen." I considered him a friendly neighbor. Nothing more. Sometimes I'd even thank him for checking on Sarah and Lily while I was away. Looking back, I practically opened the door for the man who would help destroy my family. The affair didn't happen overnight. At least that's what I learned later. It started with small conversations over the fence. Then coffee. Then lunches. Then secret afternoons while I was hundreds of miles away believing my family was safe. Sarah knew exactly when Lily's school bus arrived. She knew exactly how many hours she had before our daughter came home. Every weekday followed the same routine. At 8 a.m., Lily left for school. 10 minutes later, Zane parked his truck behind our garage where no one on the street could easily see it. Then he walked through my front door. The home I worked so hard to provide became their hiding place. And I had no idea. Meanwhile, I was sleeping in cheap hotels and eating takeout food after 12-hour workdays. Every night I called home. "How was school, sweetheart?" I'd ask Lily. "It was good, Daddy. I got an A on my spelling test. I'm proud of you." Sarah would take the phone. "We miss you." "I miss you too." "I love you." "I love you more." Every word she spoke sounded sincere. Every "I love you" was another lie. If there was one thing Sarah didn't expect, it was Lily coming home early. It happened on a rainy Tuesday afternoon in October. Lily began complaining of severe stomach pain during math class. Her teacher grew concerned. After checking her temperature and calling the school nurse, they decided to send her home early. Sarah didn't answer her phone. So the school secretary called me. I was working at a construction site near Houston. Since I couldn't get there, the school allowed Lily to take the neighborhood shuttle that dropped children near their homes. No one imagined what she would see. Lily slowly walked toward our house, holding her stomach. The curtains were closed. Mom's car was in the driveway. She smiled. "Mommy must be home." She reached for the front door. Locked. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Still nothing. Then she heard voices. A man's voice. She frowned. "Daddy isn't home." Curious, she walked around the side of the house. One of the living room curtains wasn't completely closed. There was a small opening. She looked inside. And in that single moment, my little girl's childhood ended forever. She saw her mother wrapped in another man's arms. She saw Zane kiss Sarah. She saw them laughing together. She didn't fully understand marriage. She didn't understand affairs. But she understood one thing. That wasn't her father. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it would burst. She stepped backward and accidentally kicked a flower pot. Crash! The sound echoed across the yard. Inside the house, Sarah froze. Zane turned toward the window. Sarah rushed outside. She found Lily standing in the yard, crying uncontrollably. Lily! My daughter looked at her mother with tears streaming down her face. Why was Mr. Zane kissing you? Sarah's face turned white. She looked around nervously. Zane stayed hidden inside. Sarah knelt beside Lily. Honey, it's not what you think. You're lying. You can't tell Daddy. The words escaped Sarah's mouth before she even realized what she'd said. Lily wiped her tears. I'm telling Daddy everything. Sarah felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. In that instant, she realized something terrifying. Her 8-year-old daughter had become the only witness who could destroy the secret life she'd spent months protecting. As Sarah forced a trembling smile and hugged Lily tightly, a dark plan quietly began forming inside her mind. She wasn't thinking about saving her marriage anymore. She was thinking about protecting her secret. No matter who got hurt. The next few days felt strangely normal. At least, that's what Sarah wanted everyone to believe. When I called home each evening from my hotel, Lily sounded quieter than usual. Everything okay, sweetheart? I asked. Yeah. I'm just tired. I thought it was because of school. I had no idea my little girl was carrying a secret far too heavy for an 8-year-old. Sarah made sure she was never alone with the phone for long. She's been exhausted lately, she'd tell me. 3rd grade has been keeping her busy. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my wife. Meanwhile, Sarah was terrified. Every time Lily looked at her, she saw judgment in her daughter's eyes. She caught Lily writing something in a notebook one afternoon. What are you writing? Sarah asked nervously. My feelings. Sarah reached for the notebook, but Lily quickly closed it. It's private. That single word sent a chill through Sarah. She became convinced Lily was writing everything she'd seen. She imagined me coming home, reading that notebook, and finding out about Zane. The fear consumed her. Instead of admitting her mistake, she began planning something far worse. Friday finally arrived. I was scheduled to return home on Sunday. Sarah knew she had only 2 days left. That morning she smiled at Lily over breakfast. How about a girls' day tomorrow? Just you and me. Lily hesitated. You mean it? Of course. For the first time in days, Lily smiled. She thought maybe her mother had realized she was wrong. Maybe everything could go back to normal. She had no idea that Sarah had already made her decision. Saturday morning was bright and sunny. Sarah told Lily they were driving to a nearby town for ice cream and shopping. Lily happily climbed into the car. They drove for nearly 2 hours, stopping in a busy city neither of them had ever visited. There were hundreds of people walking around. Cars filled every parking lot. No one knew them there. Sarah parked near a large shopping district. I forgot my wallet in the car, she said after buying Lily an ice cream. Sweetie, wait right here. I'll be back in 1 minute. Lily nodded. She watched her mother walk away. 1 minute passed. Then 5. Then 10. Soon the crowd became overwhelming. People walked past without noticing the frightened little girl standing alone. Lily looked around desperately. Mom? No answer. Mom! Tears rolled down her cheeks. She realized the truth. Her mother wasn't coming back. Sarah drove away with tears in her own eyes. For a brief moment she almost turned the car around. But then she remembered Lily's words. I'm telling Daddy everything. She tightened her grip on the steering wheel. If Lily never comes home, my secret stays safe. She convinced herself someone would find Lily. She told herself she wasn't hurting her. She was only protecting her life. But deep inside, she knew exactly what she had done. That evening, while I was packing my suitcase in Houston, my phone rang. It was Sarah. She was screaming, "Stephen! Lily's gone!" My heart stopped. "What do you mean she's gone?" "We went shopping, she disappeared. I've looked everywhere." I could barely breathe. "Did you call the police?" "I'm calling them now." I grabbed my keys without even closing my suitcase. My coworkers offered to drive me to the airport. The entire flight home felt endless. Every terrible possibility raced through my mind. Had someone kidnapped my daughter? Was she hurt? Was she scared? I prayed harder than I ever had before. "Please, God, let my little girl be alive." When I arrived home just after midnight, police cars surrounded my house. Detectives questioned Sarah in the living room. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were red from crying. She ran into my arms. "I'm so sorry." I hugged her. Neither of us spoke. I couldn't. My daughter was missing. Nothing else mattered. The next morning the search intensified. Volunteers searched parks, forests, shopping centers, and highways. Helicopters flew overhead. Television stations showed Lily's school picture. Neighbors hung hundreds of missing person posters. Even Zane joined the search. He walked beside me through nearby neighborhoods. "I promise we'll find her," he said. I thanked him. Looking back now, I can't believe I thanked the man sleeping with my wife while pretending to help me find my daughter. The days that followed became the darkest of my life. I barely slept. Every time my phone rang, my heart raced. Every unknown number filled me with hope. And then disappointment. Sarah cried constantly. But something felt off. She never asked detectives many questions. She never suggested new places to search. It was as if she already knew where Lily wasn't. I ignored the feeling. Grief makes people act differently, I told myself. I wanted to believe my wife. I wanted to believe this was all just a terrible nightmare. But somewhere, the truth was already waiting to be discovered. And when it finally came out, it wouldn't just break my heart. It would destroy every lie Sarah had built. On the fourth morning after Lily disappeared, my phone rang at 6:17 a.m. The caller ID showed an unknown number. My hands were shaking as I answered. "Hello? Is this Mr. Stephen Carter?" "Yes. This is Officer Daniel Brooks with the Austin Police Department. We believe we've found your daughter." For a second, I couldn't breathe. Is she okay?" "She's safe. A woman found her sitting outside a community center 3 days ago. She was frightened and didn't know your phone number, so Child Protective Services took temporary custody while we worked to identify her." I collapsed into a chair. The tears I'd been holding back for days finally came. "My little girl is alive." 3 hours later, I walked into the Child Advocacy Center. The moment Lily saw me, she jumped off the couch and ran toward me. "Daddy!" I dropped to my knees and wrapped my arms around her. Neither of us wanted to let go. "I miss you so much," I whispered. "I thought you'd never find me. I'll always find you." Those words came straight from my heart. No matter what happened, I would never stop searching for my daughter. After Lily calmed down, the social worker gently asked if she wanted to tell me what had happened. Lily looked around the room. "Daddy, can Mommy hear us?" "No, sweetheart." She lowered her voice. "Mommy left me there on purpose." My heart stopped. "What?" "She said she forgot her wallet and told me to wait. Then she drove away." I stared at her, unable to speak. There's more." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "I came home early from school last week because my stomach hurt. I looked through the living room window. I saw Mommy kissing Mr. Zane." The room suddenly felt smaller. Everything around me went silent. The missing pieces finally fit together. Sarah hadn't lost our daughter. She had abandoned her. Because Lily knew the truth. The detective asked Lily one question. Are you sure it was Mr. Zane? She nodded without hesitation. I know him. He's our neighbor. That was all the police needed to begin looking deeper. The investigation moved quickly. Detectives requested security footage from the shopping district. Hours later, they found exactly what they were looking for. The cameras showed Sarah buying Lily an ice cream, then leading her toward a crowded sidewalk. A few minutes later, Sarah walked back to her car. Alone. She looked around once, got inside, and calmly drove away. She never reported Lily missing until she was safely back home. There was no panic, no searching, no desperate mother looking for her child. Only a woman trying to create the perfect lie. Police also obtained phone records. Sarah had exchanged dozens of calls and text messages with Zane before and after abandoning Lily. One message changed everything. Sarah. She saw us. She said she'll tell Stephen. A few minutes later, Zane replied. Then you have to make sure she can't. Those words were enough for detectives to treat the case as a criminal investigation. Sarah was arrested 2 days later. She never looked at me as officers placed her in handcuffs. Zane was arrested shortly afterward for his role in helping cover up the crime and misleading investigators. When detectives searched his phone, they found months of messages proving the affair. Photographs. Plans to move in together. Even conversations about waiting until I was out of the picture. Every lie I had believed was sitting inside that phone. The divorce was finalized less than a year later. Sarah didn't fight for custody. The court awarded me full custody of Lily. We sold the house. I couldn't bear to stay in a place where every room reminded me of betrayal. Lily and I moved to a quiet neighborhood outside Fort Worth and started over. The first few months were difficult. Lily had nightmares. She blamed herself for everything. One evening she quietly asked me, Daddy, if I hadn't looked through the window, would we still be a family? I held her close. No, sweetheart. The person who broke this family wasn't you. It was the one who chose lies over love. For the first time in weeks. She smiled. About a year later, I received a letter from Sarah. She apologized for everything. She claimed she had made one terrible mistake. I read every page. Then I folded the letter, placed it back into the envelope, and threw it into the trash. Some betrayals deserve forgiveness. Others only deserve distance. Today, Lily is 12 years old. She's happy. She's healthy. She laughs again. Sometimes people ask if I hate Sarah. The answer surprises them. I don't spend my life hating her. The greatest revenge wasn't seeing her arrested. It wasn't winning custody. It wasn't exposing her affair. The greatest revenge was giving Lily the safe, loving home her mother chose to destroy. Sarah lost a husband. She lost her freedom. But most importantly, she lost the chance to watch her daughter grow into an incredible young woman. And that's a loss no court can ever reverse. If there's one lesson my story taught me, it's this. The truth may be delayed, but it has a way of finding the light. And when it does, every lie eventually collapses under its own weight.